Hi, I'm Carolyn.
And I'm Anna.
And we're two sisters who love handcrafting and figuring things out.
Welcome. It is March 8th, 2025. It's a beautiful day here in Northern California. It's good for the spirits. It's warm and sunny. Birds are singing. And welcome. We're so happy you're here.
Yeah, we turned our heat off and just opened our doors and windows. It just feels good having the fresh air. But still, you can still wear your lightweight wool.
I had on a beanie last night.
That's right.
After, starting at the end of the day.
Lots of layers. All right. So welcome. In this episode, we're going to do a lot of our usual things. We're going to share some of our FFOs. Anna has a couple FFOs. I have some finishes. We've got some whips. We're going to get curious about what we ordered from market. We don't know. So we're going to be like sharing with each other what we got. And then we're going to end with some thumbs up. We have some plans along the way.
How many did you order from market?
I ordered 4.
Okay, I ordered 8 because I had to double do you.
Oh, you had to double do me. I know I gave myself sort of a limit. Well, we'll talk about it when we get down there.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything significant from comments coming up?
Just thanks. I had one of the things I showed up in our whip parade was a piece that had 2 creases that I'm having a hard time getting out, and some ideas about that. With ideas with lots of confidence. Basically, it sounds like I really need to wet that fabric and use a dry iron, and I'm going to try that. So thanks.
Good. Yeah. Have you tried it yet?
No.
Yeah. You should do it though. Everyone's really curious about it. I mean, do it sooner than later.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. Anna and I are going to our first retreat. We signed up for the Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit, which is hosted by Acorns and Thread in Portland. And it's going to be in September, the 12th through the 14th. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Not quite sure what my school schedule is, but we're going to make
it
work.
We're like all in. We're going to do it. And they have a nice option too. They have both a Zoom option or an in-person option. So we did the in-person option, and we were so funny because 9 a.m. on the 27th, it went live. And what did you do?
I actually had time at my desk at that time. It was very lucky. So I was at school and I just went for it. But there was a long lag. So I just wasn't sure if it was something that was going to fill up right away, like how essential it was to kind of keep at it right there.
I know.
It was at 9 a.m.
It was hard to know. Just we don't have any experience. We're like, it could fill up right away. So I was also teaching right then. I was like smack dab in the middle of a class. So about 10 minutes after 9, I'm like, okay, the kids are working independently enough. So I'm like, hey, everybody, I just have a time-sensitive thing I need to do. And I had already queued up. I had practiced. I knew I could use PayPal. So
that's a great way to say it. True.
It was time-sensitive. And so I was up there. It literally probably took me a minute and a half by the time I got in.
Okay, good.
The thing, though, that's so funny, there's still 39 spots available. So
I wonder, because I don't know, it seems to me like I have not seen a lot of Zoom options for retreats. Maybe there are, but I'm wondering if there are.
I'm also wondering with certain retreats, if the day it goes live, the people that are really committed, like really want to go, get in there and sign up right away. And then there probably always a few more spots. So we're super excited. 2 people from our last video, Amy and Carol, commented that they're going. So I can't wait to meet them. So please introduce yourselves to us. And we also know Becky of Becky's House of Sewing. She's coming all the way from the East Coast. So we are really excited to meet her.
Can't wait to meet you, Becky.
she has this list, and so I think we both have the list now too. She has a list of, instead of being like your bucket list of what you want to do, she has her bucket list of people that she wants to physically like stitch in the same room with. So she's on our list. I think we're on her list. So we're like, hey, check it off. So also the two featured designers for that are Gigi of the Artsy Housewife. That was a really big draw for us. And then also Krista of Avlia Folk Embroidery, who I'm super excited to meet her. And I think they're going to be a really wonderful complement to each other.
I've always admired Avlia designs and have not tried one. So
yeah,
it'll be a great, we're so familiar with Gigi's designs, but it'll be great.
Yeah, and I know Krista also has put out things about hem stitch and different ways of finishing, and she does a lot of sort of like table runners or mats and very folk art from sort of a Greek, maybe it's a Greek.
Yeah, very geometric.
Very geometric.
Which is right up our alley.
So I think that's going to be fantastic. Anna too was right on it, and she got our hotel like right away. Like the special code wasn't even in there, but they said they'll backdate it, right? Or
yeah, I ended up having to call them for a reason, and they were just so friendly. And so yeah, we have a room. We have 2 rooms.
Really? Well, it's one room, right? I mean, it's a joint. It's
like a suite. So like we have 2 beds. Sometimes we share a bed. We're fine with that. We're like, ooh, deluxe 2 beds, and then if someone needs to stitch till 1 a.m. and the other person needs to go to bed.
I'm hoping there's going to be like just evening stitching in the lobby and all kinds of stuff.
It's hilarious because I go to bed really, really, really early, but we'll see. We'll see what happens at a retreat.
Stitching really late for me might be 10. So, okay, a lot about that, but we're really, really, really excited. And it's funny, like Anna, I think if you had asked us a year ago, we might be like, I don't know, might go to retreat.
We've been, so I have been sort of fluctuating. I think I'd like to go to retreat. No, I'm not sure a retreat is for me. And maybe when we get closer, we can talk about some of the things that are we feel we're naturally aligned to, and some things we're like, I don't know how it's going to go for me. Yeah,
but I think there was something about this one being sort of on the West Coast, easy for us to get to.
And our sister lives a few
20 minutes away. Portland. I think both of the featured designers were really appealing to us. And so, okay. All right.
You're like, enough on that. We're very excited.
Other thing is we're just super excited. Today is Saturday, what did we say, the 8th?
The 8th,
and Nashville Market is just in full swing.
That's right. It's actually going on right now.
Going on right now. And I just think of all the time and effort and work that people put in for this marketplace.
And how to set up a hotel room. And just
the physical, like since it's cash and carry, like if you sell charts, you've got to bring probably thousands of charts. Like, how do you even transport them? Are people getting U-Hauls? I mean, it's just the production of it is just incredible. And then even as a store owner, like when you look at that whole Embassy Suites and how many rooms there are, like even thinking, how am I going to get to everything? So no wonder people bring helpers, because I could see you being like, so thank you to everybody that's out there, because you are helping us. It's just so much. It's a fun time of year.
All the goodies. It is. I really, last year too. I think last year was the first year I really realized what market was and the significance of it. And it feels like just a big party celebration.
It does.
And I do feel a sense of gratitude of like, oh my gosh, thank you for those beautiful 6 designs. Oh my gosh, thank you for those beautiful 8 designs. Because even the ones that we don't purchase, it's just fun to see people's different styles.
Yeah. So thinking about you out there. And then I guess the last thing is our next episode, we are going to do a Stitch with Us episode. And we did one in June. Let's see, I wrote down, it's episode 52 if you want to go back and see it. But what essentially Anna and I did, and we had seen some other floss tubers do it, we just got some stitching. We're sitting on our couch over here. And then people had asked us questions. So we were just randomly pulling out questions and just answering them and kind of just talking as we were doing.
It felt a little scary to me the first time, but now it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, we really enjoyed filming it, and I think it was also a fun video. So we said, let's try to do it like every 6 months, and here we are like 10 months later thinking to do it again. So long way of saying, if you have any questions for us about anything, well, it's right. It's like, if you're going to ask, if we get asked a question we're not comfortable answering, we won't. But we just want to open it up. Just pop it in the comment, or if you prefer, just zip over to Instagram and you can DM us with a comment. And we'll also do a call call for questions like in stories or something where people can type them in. So
Great.
if you have a question, big or small, pop it in.
Okay, that actually was it the last Stitch with Us when the Misty of Chincoteague story came
I think
out?
it did. I think
Which is
somebody
one of our
asked, I
childhood
think the question was something
favorites.
like, do you two ever disagree?
Oh yes,
something
I
to
think
fight.
you're right.
And that's, so who knows?
We did when we were 11.
Who knows what will be revealed in this next Stitch with Us. That was a lot of like
Yeah, let's get to our
let's
stuff.
get to our toast. Okay, we are just toasting the excitement of going to our first retreat. Boop, boop.
Look at the can in your mug. Cool together.
Yeah. I'm drinking a little bit of tea. Anna's got some seltzer going, and we are happy to report we are going for pizza tonight.
Can't wait.
We try to go after we film because we film on Thursday afternoons. We film on Saturday afternoons. But how often? We probably only go like once every 4 times, once every 3 times.
Yes,
or
I think
whatever.
we end up going about every other month or every 3 months. We think we go a lot.
We think we go a lot, and we
But then
just
we look. I actually log it. We take turns paying, and I'm always like, "What? Okay, guess when the last time we were here."
Yeah. Okay, we're going tonight. All right, let's start with fully finished objects.
My
Anna.
first fully finished object is something I finished a long time ago. It's Sarah Barnes by the Scarlett House. And I did it on 36 count straw with the Belsois and Gloriana silks that were called for. And I had a vision of it being the bottom of a glass box. It was a Marie Kondo box from the Container Store. I bought it maybe 2 years ago. And
this was Anna's New Year's start 2024.
There we go. And I put some fabric on the bottom. It's a tile. It's a drawer. It's actually really delicate. The first one.
What if we can you take the drawer all the way out
Sure,
just to see it sitting in there?
Sure.
Here, let me put this up and you can talk about it. So it's a tile that she's put in the base. Anna, that is spectacular.
So now I have to decide where to put it and whether to just leave it like that or whether to put things in it. We're just going to have to see how it evolves. But it came out just like I envisioned.
Oh my gosh.
And I did find the straw. It was Old Weeks. A little fiddly to lace. I think it just is more wiggly than some of the things. And I also tried a new technique of starting in the middle and going out, which I saw on Lori Holtz.
And how did you feel about that?
I think my muscle memory, I've done enough lacing moving left to right that I prefer it. So I actually laced something else.
Although couldn't you always go left to right, turn it over and left to right?
Yeah, I'm just saying I think I got a better effect for whatever reason. I'm a left. I'm going to start. I'm a left right. I am not going to start in the middle. I'm happy I tried it, and it works great for Lori Holt.
Does this come out easily if I put it upside down? So that's actually this is really versatile because I was also thinking if you wanted to put something in the drawer, you could also put this on the top of the box.
Oh,
like just
I hadn't thought of that, Carolyn. So this is the empty box that the drawer goes in.
And then that could sit on the top.
Oh.
So you could sort of
even like the drawer could be part way open
with something inside.
Yeah. Carolyn, you always give me good ideas.
And this is really, you know what, Anna? I'm going to give Anna, can I give you a high five?
Sure.
We were visiting one of my
middle school.
No, this came from one of my granddaughters. She must have learned it in school. Whenever somebody does something good, like maybe you take your plate up at dinner or you do something, she'll come over and she goes, "Can you give me a high five?"
Well, maybe her parents do that with
maybe.
you. Do they?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Anna has really brought an A game to her fully finishes. Can we all agree on that?
I'm really interested in continuing to explore it. It was very satisfying to me.
Your book idea,
Thank you.
This idea.
Thank you.
I feel like you've done so many cool things that you're thinking outside the box of how to fully finish. It's really, this is beautiful. This is beautiful.
Thanks.
I'm going to hold up this tile. Again, I love a good tile.
William Morris fabric on the back. I use that on the back of a pillow. I like that particular fabric. I'm almost out of it.
And Anna, your corners are phenomenal.
Thank you.
Let's just zoom in on those.
So my next fully finish
is
traditional.
This is professional. This is professional grade. This whole thing is professional grade. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Thank you.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Wow.
My second finish is something I finished. Did I finish it in the fall? I can't remember when I finished it. It's called Shades of Pumpkin.
Mm-hmm.
It's from Needle Treasures Nook, which is an Etsy store. Marietta Maranova is the designer. 36 count walnut grove by Needle and Flax. I used the DMCs. And Carolyn suggested I do a really colorful frame. And I looked on Signed and Numbered, and I just felt like I couldn't quite find the right color. So I went with this gray, which reminded me of the stems.
I think it's a great color. I mean, I think just a color frame, it doesn't have to be a bright color frame, but it is the perfect color with those stems.
So it is painted. It's not a natural wood. I actually held up some natural wood frames that I had in the house already. I'm very fond of walnut and cherry, the darker natural woods. And they looked sort of flat on this. I think I needed.
It's such a beautiful neutral color. And so the neutral color of the frame makes the pumpkins really pop. Like, look at it right now. Look how good those look.
That does look good.
So this was the Park Slope frame, right? We've done it in black a couple of times. It's really a nice frame. It has some an inch of depth from the top of the frame to the base.
My experience with Signed and Number is really positive. I like this frame a lot. Mm-hmm. I know I will use it many, many, many times. I'm still interested in doing some of those pumpkins singly and making these little teeny tiny somethings, maybe another fall season. And now my question is, I'm starting to get a few cross stitch things, and some of them are seasonal now. So this is going to get tucked away until next October, November. Where do you put your stuff?
Yeah, I'd love to hear that too. I've been actually looking at getting a couple archival boxes.
The cardboard ones?
The cardboard archival boxes with some archival tissue, and just thinking, even for the frame pieces, just wrapping them in a piece of tissue and keeping them in a box like that. But I something about it, I don't want to put them in like a plastic bin. Probably fine. I feel like I saw in the background of Sully Stitches, she had a basket where she just had framed pieces sort of lined up in the basket.
Books, kind of.
Like books, and it must have just been ones that are out of season. But I thought, that was kind of a cool look too. Okay, Anna, this
is one of the first
You're
pieces.
knocking it out of the park, girl.
Oh, thanks. This is one of the first pieces I tried. What's it called when you square it up?
Blocking. Wet blocking.
And I can tell this is sitting really flat, and I tried to lace not quite as tight. Like I tried not to really pull.
I know.
And
didn't you find
very happy with the way that's sitting?
Once it's wet blocked, you did not have to. It almost
the bubbles went away. So,
and I love after lacing for tiles where you have to be very, I think, thoughtful about your corners. You're like, corner's close enough, because the frame hides the corner. There's a little bit of a rabbit lip there.
Last time I framed something, it was at Christmas time. I wanted to practice corners, so I did my corners very carefully. This one, I did not as much. In fact, I didn't even take out my basting thread. We both use a basting guideline that sits right at the edge as we're lacing to help us line things up. Like, I don't know why I would take that out. It doesn't, I don't think this is coming out of this frame. No. And if it does, I can take it out then. Perfect color.
And I think the nice thing, I think we both have really liked Signed and Numbered. So as we start to order more of their colored frames, we'll have a better reference too of what the colors look like.
It's true.
This is really such a great neutral. It's like such a gray green. Okay,
all right, and you have some finishes.
Okay, I have some finishes. I'm still really enjoying her FFOs there. Seriously, Anna, you've done some, I feel like in the last 3 months, you really upped your FFO game.
I think there's just a piece of me of okay, you like finishing, Anna. You have a lot of ideas about finishing. Go ahead and do it.
Get on it. Yeah. All right, my first finish is, I'm calling it Selbu #1. And it's my interpretation of a Selbu mitten. And I'll show you the mitten in just a minute. But here it is, all finished. And it's stitched on 40 count maple bar by Cedar River Linen. And the thread is dinky dye silk down under blues. And the size is 88 wide by 70 high.
I felt like I could imagine what this was going to be like when it was finished, but it looks even better
And
than I thought.
Last time we held this, we talked about how
Yes.
wonderful they're draped. We were talking about Jody's linen, Cedar River linens. There's something about the drape of her linen that I think is different from others. So this is the book I was referring to. It's called The Selbu Mittens. It's just this incredible reference book. Look, these are piles of real mittens, folks. Incredible.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's incredible. I would love to go. It's a great cover. And it's Norwegian knitting, and I think Selbu is either a region or a town. But they give you history, but then what they've done is they've taken, here's a pair of mittens. They're men's mittens knit by, what was the woman's name? Where did I write it? Oh, Hannah Fuglum. And then here's the chart, and you can kind of see how these elements, I use them to make this. And I am not done with this. I'm so interested in continuing to look at how to take knitting charts and turn them into cross stitch. So I think we have a wealth of really cool charts in knitting to do that. Episode number 55 in the Get Curious section, I talk more about that. But I now want to do a series.
Yeah, that was a good segment. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I now want to do a series of still focusing on designing some Selbu mittens. So I'm not going to fully finish this until I get my series and see what I want to do. So I want to experiment with different shapes, taking different elements from mittens.
Are you going to use different linens, different color threads, or are you going to keep something consistent?
I think I'm going to continue to use the maple bar, but I might use different colors. And because I might do some that are multicolored. I'll have to think with that. But I feel like I want to, before I move on to like Fair Isle or some other knitting chart genres, I want to continue to just get inspired by the incredible things in this book.
Great.
So that was my first finish. And this was, I'm doing a new thing this year where I'm picking a lingering whip. And that's just something that's sort of like stalled for no good reason. And when I pull a lingering whip out, that's it. It's just going to get done. It's not going back. It's going to stay in my rotation. And that was
seems to be working for you.
That was my first lingering whip that I did this year.
Wait, I thought you had another one.
Maybe I did.
Yeah.
This might be my second.
Okay.
I think it is my second. Whatever. It's working.
I think we both said whatever a few times. Maybe that's the name of the episode.
Whatever. One of the funniest things, when I was visiting my son's family in New York, the 2.5-year-old, she kept saying, "What the?" Like in really appropriate ways. Like she'd be like looking for something. She'd be like, "What the?"
That cracks me up when kids say something that's more mature than you would think.
Yeah.
Very cute.
Right, here's my next finish. And this was my New Year's Day start from 2025. Brenda Gervais, piece in Goodwill. And I stitched this, I ordered the kit in the fall, pre-ordered it from Farm Girl Dry Goods. And it's the called for Tobias linen by Seraphim, 36 count, and the called for DMCs and overdyed cottons. So that was the pattern. Here is my finish. I know. I'm sort of was medium on this, but I think now it's finished. I'm very happy with it.
I feel the same way. I like that you chose your only light, only love.
Yep. So some of the changes I made is I changed my words to overlight.
Sorry, I messed you up.
What is wrong with it? You know what's wrong with me? I'll tell you when I get to thumbs up why I'm a little bit wonky today. Okay. And it's a thumbs up reason. I stitched Only Light, Only Love is a quote from a Martin Luther King longer speech. And my daughter-in-law sang a song. She's in a really beautiful woman's chorus. And so I made her a birthday gift with that. And if you go back, maybe it was like the first episode of the year, I'll put it down here where it was. I focused on a pillow I made for her. And that phrase, Only Light, Only Love, has just really stuck with me. So I'm just like, sure, let's go for it. So I put that in there. Also for the cardinal's wing, instead of satin stitch, I picked the slightly darker red. So there are two reds. There's a muted red for the cardinal and this brighter red that the Quaker motifs are. So I used the brighter red for his wing. And then also for the greenery around the house, I needed to use just a brighter, bolder green. So I used Roxy Floss Co. Turf for that. I think those were my main modifications.
It's working great. I like the top of the pine cone sticks out right away to me, and I like it.
All right, do you see how there's elongated stitches up there at the top of the pine cone? This piece has been finished for like 2 weeks, except for the elongated stitches.
Classic though.
Classic.
Right? We all do that, I think.
Procrastinate. I'm like, are they gonna look good? I don't know what. Mine always look yucky. And finally today, I knew we were filming. I'm like, Carolyn, sit down in that chair and take 5 minutes and stitch those elongated stitches. And then I'm like, oh, I kind of like it.
Adds a little dimension.
There were also some elongated stitches for the snowman's arms. I don't know. I don't put sticks for arms for snowmen. I like them just big and round. So
Okay.
I took personal preference on that.
All right.
My goal for this, not my goal, but my plans for this is I'm going to use assigned and numbered, the little thin peewee frame, and I'm going to try one of their wood, like not their painted, but their full-on woods for this. And I realize I kind of have this liking for winter scenes.
Okay.
And so that's why I was trying to decide, should I frame this or not? But I have a winter scene still up over there, the heartstring samplery piece. And I'm like,
that
you know
border.
what?
Still, every time I look at that border.
I'm gonna just maybe have a little collection of winter scenes, because especially here where we don't get winter, having that sort of wintry vibe around you.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think it suits you well.
Okay. And then I have one more finish. This is sort of like a pseudo finish because it is for Houses of Hawk Run Hollow. And because this is one of my 3 BAPs, Big Awesome Projects, I'm going to call every block a mini finish along the way.
We support that.
Thank you. So I just finished this block right here. It's block number 8. And here I am. Pull it back now. I have block 4 and block 8.
You can really start seeing how the colors are going to play with each other. That's fabulous.
You can see there is a space along the top, and because there was word, it said remember me. I'm not stitching the words that were charted in this. And then this is by Curious House Samplings.
My eye doesn't even need something there. Are you going to put
Oh, my eye does need something there. Yeah, I'm going to just collect all the streets, the addresses I've lived in my life, and put them in different places on here. So
Wait, I said that idea before.
So I'm thinking I need to ask Mom and Dad, because I was thinking, do I just want the towns? Do I want my streets? Do I want numbers? But I think I want the number and the street name. So when we lived in Atlanta, we lived on Aberdeen Drive. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking Aberdeen Drive would fit nicely here, but I want to know our house number. I have like a vague, like half memory of what it might be.
It's the next house that I can remember.
Yeah, my next one I'm going to do is
the number.
Pell Place. Do you remember Pell Place? I think it's 7.
Okay.
Yeah, is going to be that one right there. And I'm just stitching this with the MPI silk, and my linen is 36 count overcast by Cedar River Linen Designs. And I'm just getting the MPIs as I need them along the way. Now, there's one thing, I wonder when this was designed. It was designed at a time where you contacted people with phone numbers, so that gives us some reference. I feel like the MPI die lights have changed, because there have been a couple of instances where the side-by-side colors are used. For example, there are 2 greens up in my house, like the steps of this top house, but you can't, if you look closely, you can see it, but you really can't. For the house, I needed to go for the bigger, darker side. I had to go one more shade darker to get some change, and then I feel like those green plants, I guess they're showing up pretty well there, don't show up that well.
Yes, I don't think in my experience, the MPI die lots don't change very often, because I think they're only up to like 7 or 5 or something like that. But I have seen a difference.
But if this pattern was designed 20 years ago,
or even 10, it could be 2 die lots away, 3 die lots away.
So that being said, I just want to be like sort of conscious as I'm going, and not be afraid to like tweak the color, like maybe go 1 shade darker or play around with it. For the most part, I'm going to use the call fors. So the other thing I started this year is because I have 3 wonderful BAPs, every month I have a BAP of the month, and it just comes out for the whole month. So this is my BAP of the month. So we're still just in the beginning of March. So I'm going to keep working on it. Okay. And then in April, I'll pick one of the other scraps and bring that out. So every month I'll just kind of have one.
Are you going down in vertical stripes?
I am, but this bottom one down here is all words. And I'm gonna save that for the end. If I need more space to fit where I've lived, I'll use that.
You might.
Otherwise, I'm gonna go to one of the other hawk run patterns and pick a house motif from one of the other ones and pull it in. So, this has been really fun. I've really enjoyed both blocks so far. Okay,
looking great.
So that is my last mini finish.
It's amazing it's outlined like that.
What do you mean?
That you have all the
I don't have all of it. I have the first half.
Okay.
But
the framework would help my brain on such a big piece.
It does.
And like you said, thinking of each as a little finish.
And I'm wondering
not really a little bit of finish.
If this is why so many people enjoy the hawk run hollows, because they're these huge pieces, but they are these little mini finishes along the way, or like a little scene that you do. And I realized this one felt, once I started stitching it, I was like, it's kind of has a little bit of patriotic feel to it. So it's almost like each one might have its own personality or flavor to it. I just want to keep going on that.
Excuse me, I'm gonna go stitch.
Oh, wow.
One more finish.
Okay, one more finish. When I was traveling, my husband and I went for almost a week to New York, and really traveling, I was like, I'm not even gonna take any cross stitch. So I just took knitting. But one of the things, pause, I'll be right back. That one thing. I thought it would be really fun to knit my granddaughter some socks, and I thought it might be something they would enjoy. So I got this pattern. It's called the Oxbow socks. I'm putting a picture in right now, and it's designed by Andrea Mowry, who's a very prolific and famous and beautiful designer in the knit world, and she designs a whole lot of things. This particular pattern, you had sizes from baby through a large man's adult. So it was very versatile. So what I did on the plane going out was I call this my prototype sock. So I just knit their child size to specification. And I didn't worry about my gauge. Then what I would do is, like my older granddaughter, she got the first pair of socks. I had her try this sock on. And then we could see the toe ended up being like an inch too long. So we could see that. I could ask her on her leg, I'm like, do you like where this is on your leg? And she's like, no, I want it like up here. And so then we could measure that. So it was a great way of putting it on a child and seeing what works and what doesn't work.
Because this looks out of proportion to me, but it doesn't matter, right? Because
it doesn't matter.
This is just your reference.
Yeah. And also this ended up being a little tight on her leg, so I knew I could add some stitches, and I've knit enough socks I could kind of go off pattern and kind of put some on. So, and then I had brought an assortment of scraps of fingering weight yarn, and I let her pick her yarn. So here are her socks. Here are the finished socks. And she picked this turquoise for the top, a dark pink, and then purple for the toes.
This is the same one who picked the pink and purple buttons for her sweater?
Yeah. So this was so much fun, and I finished them actually on the plane coming home, but I was like, I wanted to save them. I had to block them, and I wanted to save them to show our FlossTube. We FaceTimed with them last weekend, though, and she goes, Gramsy, did you finish my socks? I'm like, here they are. I'll send them to you. It's going to take a week. So, really fun. And then my local granddaughter was over, same thing. I just had her put the test knit sock on, and I took her back into my drawer of leftovers, and she picked 3 different yarns. Same idea. She wanted 3 for that. So these are the Oxbow socks by Andrea Mowry. Really fun pattern. Good texture.
Okay. Moving on to our works in progress. Woo. My first whip is the Sepia sampler from Notforgotten Farm.
Yeah, that looks essentially done.
It's almost done.
Beautiful.
And this year, I am doing an exploration of the Notforgotten Farm catalog as an excuse to order a lot of her patterns. I'm having a really, really fun time. And I finished Springbird in January. This was my second one I started. And there was something about the neutrals, these gray greens, that just called to me. Maybe it was sort of like a stormy February or something. Here it is.
So nice.
I need to finish the very bottom line. I think I'm going to put in my own birth date and put in replace a few of the motifs.
At the very top.
The house, yeah.
Above the
hand, the heart. There's a key down here. I might put a little bunny
Why that's
I don't
funny.
know. The Brenda
Sorry.
Keys book, I meant to bring it,
Mhm.
that has the pages and pages and pages of things
Mhm.
to choose from. Or Carolyn, you had the idea of some geometrics. I might put some geometrics swirling in the sky. I think I just love negative space, so it doesn't even bother me that there's empty space, but I am going to put a few things in.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And I want to finish this because I want to send it out and just have this little framed piece. So I'm going to send it out for framing.
Good. Anna, I'm going to throw out an idea.
Okay.
What if this summer, before we go to our family camp, we go visit her farm?
I would love to do
Isn't it? Is it in Virginia?
It is. I think it's something, it would be something like a between 3 and 4 hour drive. So it would be a.
I
It would
just
be an
want,
all-day thing.
yeah, but or even like depends.
We like
plan.
an excuse. We like an excuse. Are you about to say we have to get a hotel room, go out to dinner, split our beer, split our hamburger, that whole thing?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was gonna say we could do it like Saturday to Sunday. Just goes. Okay.
The rest of our family.
Yeah. My family will see
Gracie
it
and
at
Bertie
family
will be
camp.
there at some point.
Yeah.
They're cross stitching.
The just because you focusing on it would just be the perfect year to go be able to visit her farm store.
I would love to someday.
And complete the whole stalking experience. No, I'm kidding. That's not something to joke about.
Yeah, I really like Lori's patterns, and this whole idea is exceeding expectations.
Yeah, to complete the inspiration. There we go. Okay, Anna, lovely.
Thanks.
Gosh, you
are too.
I know, but I'm just having. I think sometimes I call this vicarious fun. Like, don't you just have so much fun when you see other people having fun?
That's
or doing
why we
cool
like
things?
FlossTube, for sure.
Yeah.
You're celebrating with everybody else.
All right, next one. I've actually been bitten in a knitting jag along the way. So I was visiting my son's family. My daughter-in-law, she's really into vests, and they look so cute.
They look great on her.
They look so cute on her, and I think especially on the East Coast, the vests are really good. So I'm like, I'm gonna make me a vest. So I picked this vest by Petite Knit. It's called the Lulu Slipover. And I liked it has a little turtleneck up here, so it looks really cozy, but it's very open and swingy. It just has 2 buttons on the side for that. And I picked some yarn at a local yarn store.
That's pretty.
For them. Yeah, I really like it. And the yarn I picked is called Acadia, which is a national park in Maine. And I have, let me write it down, Mountain Mica is the one I got. And here's the yarn. Really beautiful. And the website, when I was just going to see the fiber content of this, it's 60% merino, 20% baby alpaca, and 20% silk. So here I finished my back. And I mean, can you hold that up at the top like there so I can also spread out you can see it kind of starts at the top and then it's going to come out in the bottom. And you can see here's the big armhole and the button will kind of probably be about here. This is really beautiful, just ribbing at the bottom. And then she had you do this thing, this is going to be mostly interesting to other knitters, called an Italian bind off. And it's really stretchy and beautiful. It kind of rolls around. For any knitters, it's the equivalent of doing a tubular cast on when you have a 1x1 rib. And this designer, Petite Knit, she's European, but she has a website where she has videos. I think somebody else made them, not her, for all of her techniques. So, but the videos are in some other language. But I'm like, knitters, we don't need words. Like I just listen to the words, but you're just watching the maker's hand do it. And so it was a really cool bind off. So I was really happy to learn that new technique. And my next step is you pick up stitches along the beautiful shaping of the shoulder and then knit your front. Over the front. So
really pretty yarn.
Really happy with this. And the yarn, this is how the website described it. I thought it was I'm like, marketing win. Okay, inspired by rugged, rocky coastlines, Acadia is a rustic blend of fine merino wool, providing warmth, and baby alpaca and silk noil, adding drape and luster, as well as an interesting knobby fabric. This heathered appearance of yarn is achieved by kettle dyeing process that creates subtle duo tones. Yeah, give me some of that, right? So again,
nicely done, whoever did that.
So that's my Lulu Slipover. This is going to be finished pretty quickly. I really have enjoyed knitting this. It does have a nubby feel.
And I can see the sheen a little bit too. The silk.
From the
You can tell the silk.
the silk noil.
My next whip is the Quaker Christmas Sampler by Kathy Barrick, and it's a restart, everybody. Here's the pattern. And I originally started on 36 count tephra.
Do you have the original?
By Cedar. This is the original.
That's the original.
So we're just going to chop off the top and the bottom, and we'll have some tephra. Oh, that's upside down. No, it's
And
not.
backwards.
And maybe you hold that because I went to 40 count wheat by Fiber on a whim, which is the called for, and I couldn't find it when I first started. So it's definitely more yellow in tone, and I am liking the way the yellow and white snowflakes are.
Did you ever have any white on this one?
I did.
But you
I
took it out?
took it out.
Okay. Yeah, that looks really nice, Anna.
It's starting to hit me how long and how skinny this truly is. So, we've been talking about finishing. I'm like, how am I going to finish that? Because I'm choosing the sampler instead of the stocking. So we'll see. I'm going to have to get creative.
Yeah, I'm going to show you, and I'll bring it to the next episode because it's back in my bedroom. But it's about this size. It was something I needle pointed years ago, and it was kind of finished as like a little bell pull. It has a tassel on it, like
yeah, something like that. Especially because it's for the holidays. Maybe a little bell. I don't know. Okay, so this is part of a SAL, KB Swan Quaker SAL, run by Annie XO Needle in the Hay XO. And I am I'm calling it in the vicinity of where I should be for the SAL. I'm not exactly.
In math, we say plus or minus.
Yes. I'm close enough that I don't feel overwhelmed. So when the next chunk comes out, I'll be okay.
Yeah. Are you feeling good about your restart?
I am. Good. I like it much better.
Good. Great.
I like this. I just didn't like the yellow.
Isn't that funny how sometimes...
Could you like this better? You're hesitating.
You know what? It was funny because Anna has a little pile right here, and looking over at your pile, I'm like, oh, I really liked your restart. I thought the one on the top was your restart. And I'm like, that looks really good. So that was my instinct. But that looks really good too. And particularly the white, if you had concerns about the white, because there is a lot of white in this.
Right. So it's interesting because a few people have held this up in floss tubes, and I feel like their colors really pop off the wheat. And I'm fine with the way the colors are looking in the wheat. I like it better, but I still don't think that the white and the yellow are really popping.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, the camera there. When we get to shared supplies, I'm going to show 2 linens I have for this. One of them was this one, but there's another one that I think the yellows and the whites are going to really pop. So
okay,
I'm curious to see.
We'll try even the third one. We'll
we will. Yeah.
What's your next one?
Okay, my next one is another knitting one. This, I don't know. Okay. I put this in the category of it's a bit of a panic project. So I was about to go on my trip, and I didn't decide to make the vest until I was on my trip. And so I really didn't start that till the end when I had gone to the yarn shop there. And I'm like, not taking stitching. I need a knitting project. So I had seen this hat. It's called the Curiosity hat. And I'll put a picture. I'm going to put 2 pictures on because you can turn it inside out and you get 2 versions. So here's one version. And then here's the other version. Anna, here, I'm going to show you the photos. That version. Okay. So it called for 2 different yarns. One was a solid, and then one was sort of multicolors. As you can see, she had a pink one. And I just went to my stash and I got this. I don't have much left, but it's called Dyed in the Wool by Spin Cycle. A little bit left. And so what they do is they actually dye the wool and then spin it. So you get lots of variations of color and some greens. And then this is a beautiful natural wool. It's called Ansel by Jill Draper Makes Up. And this, I've made a shawl out of this wool. It's fantastic. So I start knitting this. Whoa, I'm almost embarrassed to show it. Just this big blob.
Wait, is it off gauge or something? Hold it up so people can see why it feels silly.
Okay, I made a large. I don't know.
Well, we do have large heads in our family.
I think I'm off gauge. It's so.
How soon did you realize?
Oh, pretty soon.
But you keep going.
At some point, I'd go, maybe I'll just make it a cowl, and I'd put it on, and it's like good on my neck. But then I go, okay, because what happens is here's part of it. Here's
Lots
the
of
top.
rolls.
So you start with a provisional cast on. You make this long tube, and then you finish off the top of the hat. And now I'm going to make it the other way. So it becomes, and then you take and you make it like a 2-layered hat.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
And then that in turn will eventually also have a brim. So it's
well, now all of a sudden it's adorable.
And so every time I'm like, what am I making? And then I do it and I kind of put it on and I'm like, oh, that could be kind of cute.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Somebody's going to want that.
Somebody's going to want it. Oh, okay. Sorry. But every time I pull it out, I'm like, what am I making? But as far as travel knitting and TV knitting, I'm just going around and around.
The purpose.
It served the purpose. I'm actually now just doing with the natural. So you can kind of, it's a textured that you're holding. You're doing one round with your plain and one round with that specialty wool, and you just get those stripes and colors. So,
okay. Are you almost done?
yeah, I probably have this plain off-white part has to go up about 5 inches and then do the top shaping. Okay, so hopefully by the next FlossTube,
maybe you'll be wearing it.
I'll have it blocked. I'll have finished, and if it's done, I'll be wearing it.
You can wear it while we sit and stitch.
Often,
whatever it's called.
I'm always proud of what I knit. I'm looking at this, being like, "Can I really show this?" But I'm
of course, I understand your point.
Hashtag truth, like, yeah, like not everything you do, and it was a bit of a panic project. I'm like, I need a project. I'm going on a plane tomorrow for like, and then we ended up having so many delays. It was like 13 hours from when we got to the airport to get to the other airport. So I got a lot of knitting done and also the socks. So it served its purpose. Okay.
Okay.
I might have to cut out if some of that laughing. Okay. Whew.
The next whip we have to show you is a new start. It's another Notforgotten farm pattern. It's called Rabbit Warren. So I don't have anything for the spring in terms of like a little pillow or small or something. So I thought, let's start this. Here it is. That's my kind of bunny.
Yeah.
I think it's adorable.
They do have a little personality. They look like they could be playing like a little flute or something.
Yeah. And I like flowy leaves and vines. The color palette I find really beautiful with just this little pink. And there's a few colors from Sepia Sampler too, which is, we've talked about this in another video, another bit of fun I'm having with Notforgotten Farm this year is the overlap of colors. And so far I've just stuck to the DMC. They've been great. And here I am. The basket's about in the middle. There are 2 more horizontal bunnies on the other side of the basket, and then that other tree. I don't know if I'm going to make it for this spring. It might be a next spring.
I feel like you've made a lot of progress. This was a new start, right? Since our last.
Yes.
Do you find you like the Notforgotten Farm size of things?
Yeah, so they are taking longer than I anticipated, which is not a problem, but that is there. I mean, I've stitched quite a bit on that. The other thing I tried on that is some French knots for the tails. I'm really trying to
boost your skills.
Just because I'm calling this an exploration, I'm like, okay, I'm going to try some different finishes. I'm going to try some different stitches, and I think they're cute. And I am thinking I might make this a pillow, but might put some prairie triangles or something. It
looks like a Band-Aid.
Yeah, it's just kind of a Band-Aid-y color. Like some of these, a couple of these off one side of them.
Like would it be in the seam? Would it be in the seam?
You might have seen it on quilts, and then maybe some herringbone stitching. I might try a little bit of a collage-y thing on the edges for this one. That's what I have. That's the idea I have so far.
Go for it. You're on an FFO roll.
Oh, I'm up again?
Yeah.
And then I did start Hyperbole, which is Artsy Housewife. It's in her Patreon. It's her birthday sampler, her being Gigi. And I was very interested. This is charted in DMC, and the colors are fabulous.
Oh, you got the DMCs. Yeah.
They're vibrant, and when Gigi holds hers up, I just am really liking the contrast. But I love some variegation in a floss. So as a compromise, I'm like, you know what? From Evertote, I'm going to order the 3 recommended yellows to replace these 3.
Okay, because they have the kits, right? For that. Wait. Oh, these are the DMCs.
Those are the DMCs.
Okay.
And so these came a week or so ago, and you know what? I think they're beautiful, but I think I'm sticking with the DMC, especially this middle yellow. I want that. I want that pop.
Let's just compare.
It's a lot different.
It is a lot different. It's much paler. The DMC is the top, and the Roxy Flossco is the bottom. Yeah,
I picked the yellow because it's the color that's used in these big flowers, and I think I'm going all DMC. So I have a tiny start. It's on 40 count winter wren, and I was sort of waiting for the yellow, so I stopped. I'm a little uncertain.
Here, I'm going to fold your fabric again just to make sure our light
with the really dense stitching on 40 count. It's new to me because I usually have stitched on 36 or Legacy, which is 37, 38, and
it's feeling a little tight.
There's a slight chance I might go to 36 or to a Legacy.
Yeah,
because it's not unpleasant to stitch, but it's just different than I'm used to, and I just need to make sure I like it enough because there's so many stitches.
It's a big piece.
So I'll stitch a little bit more on that and make my decision. Get some of these yellows in. So we'll pop these yellows into our Roxy rings.
Yeah, because you'll be able to do the yellows on the border and in the little flowers. Fantastic, Anna. It's great.
We shall see.
The other thing I'm working on this too. In fact, that's one I'm going to get back to in my plans. One thing about Gigi's charts, and I feel like this on a lot of her charts, there's so much action going on with them. But the beauty of them is like she can have some pretty like full-on charts and borders and things, but you can pick and choose what you want. She did another sampler for Boone for his birthday. It was in the February Patreon. It had so many neat elements, but I'm like, oh, I might just pull out that element or that element. Like even this, like pulling out like the flower vase or something, or like even doing her band here. I mean, I feel like you can pick and choose elements from her pieces because there's so many different things going on. Borders and.
I want to do all of this.
Oh yeah, me too. All right, so plans. What's going on for you?
It's funny, when I thought about my plans, I'm like, I think just kind of keep the rotation of the things I just showed you rolling. I'm still interested in all of them. I'm not really feeling in the need for a new start or anything like that. So my plans are just kind of keep it up.
Yeah.
How about you, Carolyn?
I'm like the same place. I'm going to keep going on my Houses of Hawk Run Hollow. That's my March back. My new lingering whip is my White Winter Moth by Kathy Barrick. So I already pulled this one out yesterday. So I'll start working on that probably today. And then I've also pulled out, well, I never really put it away, but the Artsy Housewife, also my Hyperbole.
You know what I was saying? Is that your second lingering whip? Maybe I'm just remembering the lingering whip, the things in your lingering whips category from our whip parade.
Maybe that's
so
it. Maybe that's it.
Maybe that's it.
Oh, well, yeah. And some of them were things, it was like things I know I'm going to finish in 2025. And they were also things that were lingering whips. The other thing is I'm going to finish my Curiosity hat. Okay, I'm going to try to wear it by the next video. That'd be really funny. I'm going to keep working on my Lulu vest, my slip over, and I'm going to make.
It's for your daughter-in-law, the Lulu slip over.
No, it's for me.
Oh, it's for you.
No, she wears a lot of vests, which inspired me. I want a vest. No, it's
okay.
It's for me.
Okay, and you have your.
But it's really cute. She had a project that she's also a beautiful knitter, and she had a project she wanted. So when I was at the yarn store, I also got her some yarn, which was fun. And then I'm going to make a new pair of socks for my other granddaughter. So those are sort of kind of got some good knitting going on the way. Okay, let's do We're Curious. And what we're curious about is, I don't know about you, Anna, but I'm curious what you pre-ordered.
And I'm curious what you pre-ordered.
Okay.
We're curious about what
you pre-ordered. Right, so we'd love to hear, pop in the comments if you pre-ordered anything, maybe your top chart that you're excited about would be great to hear. their top charts. All right, Anna, how do you want to do this? Should we each list? Don't look at mine. Do you want to do yours? Do you want me to do mine? Do you want to go back and forth?
Why don't you do yours? I'll do mine.
Okay. I also have
then I'll try not to look. And
okay.
Then
here
you can open up the doc for me.
I'm just gonna show the photos. These we'll insert photos, of course, but I'm gonna show on my laptop the photos.
So
my first one is Bun Bun by the Artsy Housewife.
I would have predicted that.
I'll put it right here. This one, I'm pretty sure when I get it, it's gonna be a pretty quick start. It's just gonna have to think about. I'm gonna have to really think about the fabric. What do I like about this? Well, everything. Again, I love the sense of the realistic animal, beautiful border, sense of whimsy. And like Anna, I don't really have that many spring things. I also thought it would just be a fun thing to stitch in March and April.
I'm going to add that I really like the layers too. I like the way the bunny is sort of inside the frame, but the ears are overlapping.
Yeah, and even the flowers in the background, the bunny's on top of. Right. Okay, so that's my first one. The next one I ordered
Am I allowed to chime in on yours?
Sure, of course you can. This is the Kathy Barrick Quaker House stocking and sampler. When I first saw this, I'm like, wait a minute, isn't that the Christmas one? And then I realized it's different. And in fact, I might stitch this one before the Christmas one.
I like this one more than the Christmas one.
Oh, you do? Okay, so I think I might do that. And I'm pretty sure it uses the same MPI silks. I'm pretty sure.
I wonder if it's the absence of words for me. Yeah. And there's more variation in the little doodads around the bigger motifs.
And I do like the houses, and I do like the all the geometric motifs.
And this is definitely one, like you were talking about with Artsy Housewife, you could just pick out a few motifs so easily on this one. It's really beautiful.
Or you could even take the motifs and reconfigure them in different ways. Okay. My next one is, I went for it. I picked my first animal cracker, and this is Lily the frog. It looks like she's holding a spool, and I can't tell. It looks like a 3-dimensional spool. I think I'm going to not do that. I just want the full-on frog effect.
I think I've seen it's like truly stitched, something that you would wrap up around.
I see, around the spool. But I think I just want her, and I'm assuming that dress just continues on behind her. So that's okay.
What do you like about her?
What do I like about her? I've been curious about the animal crackers. I'm a little concerned about finishing them and having the skills to do the sewing around them. So that kept me away. So I felt like Lily had a good shape, a doable shape to finish. And I think this frog is just so cute. If I can remember, there is this amazing stop motion animation on Instagram that Caroline of Evertotes once highlighted. And it's these little frogs. They're doing all these different things. If I can find it, I'll put the link right here. So I'm sort of like into frogs right now.
Okay.
So
I'm happy to finish your animal crackers for you. You probably want to try it yourself.
I think I want to try it myself, but I might do it at your house and get guidance along the way. All right, here's my last one. Anna's never going to guess this one. Okay. It's called The Stitching Parliament by Hands On Design. There was something about these owls. I'm not sure I'm going to put the words under each owl, but I just felt like they had such great personality. I think I'm going to stitch them separate. Maybe do stand. I don't know. They just, every time I looked at them, they made me happy.
They caught my eye too, especially threads.
The
face on threads.
Yeah. And specks, hoops, snips, and threads. So that was just sort of, I feel like if I've seen something multiple times and every time I see it, it makes me smile. I'm like, that's the one to get. So I had limited myself to pick 4. So those are the 4 I picked. All right, Anna. Should we go to yours?
Okay, I had a first round, and then some new ones came out, and I had a second round, and I might even, there's still some that I'm interested in, like some Erica Michaels, is that her name? Yeah. Berries that came out, or I was really going off of Lindy Stitch's website because I appreciate her videos.
I should say too, I also ordered from Lindy Stitches, and those images are images from her website as well.
And I know no one, well, maybe it's some, but probably most websites don't carry every single thing. So I think I started to notice some other things. So my first one is, my first 3 actually are all Kathy Barrick. The first one is the Quaker House stocking and sampler that Carolyn already showed. The next one is the birth samplers, and I like one of them much more than the other.
Okay, which one do you like more?
I prefer the the second one that is the bird on the branch.
I'll put photos of both of those in here. Yeah.
And I have 2 grandchildren on the way in the next 6 months. And I think that the colors in that bird are so pretty. So I think I'm going to make that for one of the upcoming.
Okay, I was definitely eyeing that one too.
From Velvet to Linen is the other one.
Okay.
I've heard Olivia B. in Hillside Rookery say she's interested in stitching it. I've heard Caroline from Thread Gremlins say she's interested in stitching. I'm sure so many others. I'm wondering if some of us may want to start it together. That's so dense.
It's so dense.
Anna, what are you doing? But I have to start that.
Yeah. I wonder how big that is too.
It's going to be big.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay.
Then the Artsy Housewife one that I picked was Pretty Things, and Gigi said on her own FlossTube, she said something like, "This is about as traditional as I'm going to get," and I know exactly what she means. It definitely has a traditional bent, but I can still hear her voice in it.
Of course,
and I just love it.
I think this is another great sample. Like any of those baskets of flowers would be a beautiful small too.
Maybe perforated paper. I don't know. And then my 5th one in my first round was something from Red Barn Sampler, the Elizabeth Thompson 1849.
Yeah, I totally see that for you.
I like those kinds of motifs, and it's definitely the color on the darker fabric. So if the fabric and the threads look a lot different in person than they do in the photo, I'm going to need to tweak them, because that's definitely one of the things that's attracting me to this is that contrast.
Wonderful.
My second round, Quaint Rose Needle Arts, Macy came out with hers, and I just had to get the strawberry thieves. I have so much admiration for her as a designer, and I feel had to get one of hers.
She also has a certain voice that you see. I was also eyeing some of her charts. Neat, Anna. And do you think you're mainly going to do the bird, or is there one here that you are thinking specifically about?
I don't know. I think
you like the word sweet. Like you're always like, that's so sweet.
It is.
Where I'm always like, sweet.
That's a good way to distinguish between the two of us.
That's right.
One of the ways we're different is sweet.
And I'm like, sweet. That's sweet. Okay. This is so fun, Anna.
The second one in my second round was this. I could not stop looking. I don't think I'm going to do the words. I don't think I'm going to do the border. That basket, those birds, those fractal-looking flowers.
Yes.
All of the open space behind them.
Yes.
I need to look at how big that is. I don't have a good sense of how big that is.
I'm zooming in here on my laptop, and that basket almost looks like a quilt.
Or a sweater.
Or a sweater.
Like there's something about this. I find it unique, and it is just.
It would be. It's interesting. The letters. I can't tell if the letters are backstitched or how they're done, because they almost look like a little cursive, don't they?
You're right.
Or something.
We'll have to check that out when it comes in.
Okay, Anna. Good. That's a nice choice.
And the last one when Teresa, yay, Teresa, lost you out. Shakespeare's Peddler. I'm just a huge fan of her Christmas red fabric.
She also, Anna mentioned, you probably heard this in her video, that her book from Red Samplers had another piece that's in the series. And she said it's even in the backdrop here. It was something she had taken from a show towel. And so even though it's it's red on white versus white on red, she says it still fits in the
They look fabulous together.
That might be an interesting book to get of hers, the red ones. Okay. Interesting.
So
we only had one overlap.
Yeah, I think we've had a couple of overlaps in the past. I think this is the most market pre-orders I've ever done.
Got a great assortment.
I'm very excited.
Great assortment. Wonderful. Okay. So again, we'd love to hear what were some of your favorites. Did you get some? Yeah, I think one year. I feel like maybe the first year. I typically don't order a lot, but that's why this year I'm like, I definitely want to order some, because you can always get them later. That's the thing. Like,
there's still a piece of me of like, you can order these anytime you want in the next couple of years, probably. I think I'm just totally, like we said at the start of the video, like kind of into this tradition, and I don't mind doing like a little blast of like.
And it was fun for me to say you can pick 4. And then realized, so I had so much fun just looking through, and I'd put things in my cart and take things out. So that was
that's
a really
what I did
fun.
last year. I think I said you can pick 5.
Mm-hmm.
This year I was like, whatever.
The new Anna. Okay.
So in terms of shared supplies,
Mhm.
my pre-orders
Mhm.
basically
Right.
is what I did. I went to we went over to Santa Cruz, and so I had a chance to go to Hearts Fabric, and I picked some possible fabrics for a quilt for one of the new babies, but nothing is far enough along to show yet. But I'll share that once I get going.
Okay. I finally got my package that I ordered in December.
Oh, you did?
You know what? We came back from our travel and it had come while I was gone. So one of it was a piece of linen to do. Originally, I thought we're going to do the Quaker Christmas, but now I actually think I'm going to start when I get the other one, the Quaker Houses. And it was the called for. It was the 40 count wheat.
Let's see if ours are the same.
Is yours 40 count?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They're
very
very
similar. And if I did my math correctly, and there's no guarantee a math teacher does,
So true.
Stitcher's quarter will fit the full thing with margins. So
That's
I got
what
that.
I determined as well.
But then I had decided to use a different linen when I wasn't even sure I was going to ever get that. And this is Oaken by Fiber on a Whim. Excuse me. Picture this plus. And
that's right.
And so this
really
is so different, but Olivia Beach Floss Pack. It just felt like the colors looked really good on the. This is such a fail.
Could I help something for you?
Yeah, maybe.
Sister?
Here, why don't you hold that linen up and let me see if I can arrange these flosses. MPIs is just harder to see. I just felt like the gold and the white were going to really pop.
See how the greens look.
So the only one I'm a little concerned about is this maple brown, but I have to see where that was.
It's mostly in the Quakers, I think. So it might be okay. Yeah, I still like that. I remember that now.
So I think I might try the Oaken. And this one, because I got 36 count, I did get a Stitcher's half. So it's really.
This is a
wait
great.
a minute. Did she cut it for me in this way?
I think she gave you a true half or a true quarter or something instead of a Stitcher's.
That's it, so that I can do it this way.
Because usually you would, for a half would be this.
Uh-huh. Oh
This
yeah, I hadn't unfolded it
because
before.
we have to, it's hard to remember how wide a bolt of linen actually is.
It's nice when you go to Needle and Haystack, you can tell Karen, like, this is the piece I want to make. And then and what margins I like.
I really appreciate it when a store will do that.
Yeah. Okay.
And I understand why some just can't, but.
So I have these 2 new linens now, and I think I am going to do the Oaken. We'll see.
Okay.
All right. And then the other thing I got was the catalog book from this year's Whitney Antiques.
May I please borrow that? May
Yes.
I please take a turn when you're
I
finished?
really have just opened it recently. I haven't gotten a chance to look through it, but just a cursory look through this. I mean, it's a gold mine. So I still want to go back to the books are pricey. I think this might have been,
Almost 100,
I think it was like 80
Yeah.
in that neighborhood. But I am going to go back. I did not get last year's, and I think last year's also had some similar themes to this year. So I'm going to go back and also order last year's because I'm thinking once these are gone, they're gone. So really, really excited about that.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And then my very last thing, the granddaughter that I was visiting, I always ask them, like, who's ready for their next sweater? And they wear their sweaters all the time, and she's ready for her next size. She probably won't really wear it till next fall, but I wanted to start knitting it. And I asked her what color, and she said she wanted pink, dark pink with reds in it. And when I was at the store, I saw this Madeline Tosh. It's called Fatal Attraction.
Nice choice.
But it is pinks and reds.
Are you going to make the same cardigan?
I'm making the same.
What's the biggest size that comes in?
The particular one that I think it's called the Anchor, it goes up to like adult.
Oh, good.
And it's just such a great cardigan for them. I'm going to do this. And I brought it home and I showed it to her and she goes, that's exactly what I was thinking about.
Gramsy, you did
Ding,
well.
ding, 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 ding. All right. Thus endeth my purchases. Oh, okay. Here we are.
It's fun to see a lot of knitting from you again.
Yeah. And I love knitting. And I also realize there's so many good times, like when I'm watching TV, knitting is really better than cross stitching in some ways if I need to watch the TV or like on the airplane or that kind of stuff. So I've had a really good time kind of getting back into some knitting.
Good.
All right, time for our thumbs up.
So my first thumbs up is Katie of So Tattered.
Mm-hmm.
Go look at her Instagram. I think it's her last post now, but a recent post of, she calls it reimagining, not giving up, but reimagining. It's a partially stitched sampler that she is appliquing on the empty side. She's doing all these appliques
of fabric on it. What a cool idea to mix stitching and applique.
I've been very interested in this notion and I haven't tried it myself. And when I saw hers, it was just like, oh my gosh, she's really onto something very interesting. And for those projects that we decide, I'm not going to finish this, you can just play with it a little bit. So thank you for the inspiration.
Whoa.
My second thumbs up is I went to my first youth softball game. Our local niece plays for her high school team. And oh boy, on a spring afternoon to go to a softball game, and the air was so fresh and the spirit on their team is just so positive, and they're all working so hard and trying all these really hard throws, and it was inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a moment of panic in the bleachers because I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. I can't bring my cross stitch. So I'm about to start another thing for the baby, a knit blanket. So for softball and baseball watching this spring, I need to bring some knitting. Mm-hmm. I really have a hard time sitting still.
I know, I'm similar in the same way. Is that like a sign of like restlessness of some type? Like, should we be able to sit still? Or is it just like liking to do
the busy hands, happy heart?
Yeah.
Yeah. I will think about that. My third thumbs up is just yesterday, some girlfriends came over. We were celebrating one of their birthdays, and we just made this beautiful lunch, and we crafted together. And I'll put a photo here. I forgot to take a picture of the finished bag, but I've been very interested in using gingham in quilts. I think gingham would look really good appliqued on a sampler. So I made a project bag for the birthday girl, and it was just glorious. You know how sometimes when your group of friends leaves and you're just like, oh, that was so great. It was just so nourishing. You know, we're very, very close friends, and we just talk to each other about everything, just like with sisters. It just feels good to just be able to be so open and to talk about hard things and happy things. And it was wonderful.
Great. Good thumbs up. All right, mine are about things I've been watching recently. First thing, and this is why I feel a little wonky, is I got recommended to watch The Diplomat. It's on Netflix. There are 2 seasons. I think I started it on Tuesday. I've watched all 14 episodes. I binged it. I was up to midnight.
That is a lot.
It's a lot. I was up to midnight almost every night this week. And I get up at my alarm goes off at 5:30 to go to school. So I'm a person that really does well with 9 hours of sleep. So I could not stop. You end one is like 45 minutes. So they're not even a full hour. It's like a cliffhanger. And that Netflix just goes next episode. And so last night I watched 5 episodes.
I wonder if this is a sign of you're getting close to retirement. I'm going to stay up until midnight.
I don't know. Anyway, if you like sort of political intrigue thrillers, it was very enjoyable. Very enjoyable. The next thing I've been watching I was so happy about is Kitten Stitcher just released a FlossTube, and she hadn't released one in about a year.
So good to see
and
her.
It's just great. She gave us a life update. She's moved to Pennsylvania, and just all of her beautiful designs, and it just was great. She seemed really just happy and in a great place. So it was really wonderful. I keep thinking she's like my BFF. I would be friends with her if we knew each other in real life. Who knows?
Do you need help with your market booth next year?
Would you like? So it just was that I really, really enjoyed watching that. And then lastly, it's a little nerdy, but I just really enjoy science. And both my husband and I are into this podcast called Planet Geo about geology. And I think I've talked about that before. I love it. But then there's this really young woman. She was on their podcast. It's an audio podcast they do. And she does a YouTube channel. Her name is Geo Girl. And she had them on her YouTube. So John and I watched 2 episodes. my phone ran out of storage. I guess that's what happens when I have lots of hour plus episodes and I hadn't deleted it from him. Okay, we're back. I think we're done. Geo girl, check her out. She's awesome.
How many episodes does she have?
She has a lot, and she's super young, and her visuals are amazing. She's really great at doing diagrams and then easily explaining ideas. And I feel like the Planet Geo is similar. They can explain ideas really well.
Because geology is a topic that I've always had a very hard time understanding. It's been explained to me many times, by your husband, who's a good explainer. And we have so much interesting geology in our area, just doing our hiking.
Yeah.
So I need to check these out.
Yeah.
I'll try something on the airplane.
I think you'd like Geo Girl. And the podcast, the audio podcast, Planet Geo, is excellent. They're really, really good. And they're fun to listen to. They have great camaraderie, the two guys. All right. That's it. All right, everybody.
Until next time,
happy crafting
and stay curious.
Bye.
See ya. Hi. That's okay.